So there's been a lot of talk indeed about Spotify and Facebook, and the sort of the potential future of music subscription services coming through.
It's exciting times.
And some people say daunting times as well. So normally when there's so much positive and negative output at the same time, it normally means something big's coming.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely.
But where do you see things going? Do you see Facebook as being the new content ecosystem of the the digital age?
Well, I wouldn't put it that way, because I'd say what Facebook is doing is a improved model with one of your companies that started here, Last.fm. They're collecting your preferences of music. They're not actually offering a content service, so to say. They're aggregating lots of different content services and then scrobbling the information and then making it available socially, which is a really interesting idea. Any Last.fm user loves that service, right?
Yeah, so I completely agree with the Last.fm comparison. The imitation is a serious form of flattery, but I think there's another extension.
It was a good idea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And in many ways, a lot of people have been sort of, quite sad, myself included, about Last.fm's slow demise. But one of the things which Last.fm and Facebook, I think, are in some ways mirror opposites is Last.fm was all about how it could coexist through its APIs. Really, a model of best practice of how to coexist in the digital music ecosystem with APIs. Facebook is about coexisting, but it seems to be coexisting but also being gatekeeping. And that's one of the things which I'm sort of...
Why do you say that? I mean, because they didn't exclusively use one music content provider over another. There's, whether you're a Rhapsody, Spotify, Mog, user. Spotify got the keynote, and I think that's appropriate because Spotify is generally more better known in that audience. But they made an open API, right?
Yeah, for sure, and you're right.
FM, for example.
But the way I'm sort of thinking about it is, as we move forward to more universal logins, for example, we get to a stage where Facebook becomes so integral to people's content experiences because it becomes this idea of a digital content dashboard. That, for me, is a position where they have even if they don't intend to do it, they'll find themselves inadvertently in a position of digital gatekeeper, because they will be with people who will curate people's digital content experiences.
Yeah.
So how much do you think context is changing in terms of its importance for music? Because in my view, music used to be all about the actual music itself, because it was defined by its format. You put your cassette in, you put your CD in, you put your vinyl on, and you sat back and you listened to it. Now people are much bigger expectations about what they get out of their content experience. People lean forward and want to do a lot more. I wonder whether music, just in its sense as like an audio file, just isn't enough in the digital age. That people want it to be in the context of something else.
Yeah, I would say it's evolved, because I would have said it was much more of an experience before. You're going into the record store, you're looking through the albums, I mean, who would ever forget the first Sticky Fingers album they saw, and then listening to it was a piece, and listening to it with a bunch of friends, you get your Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band and everybody gets together to hear it for the first time, and obviously I'm in the older generation, but I think the younger generation, in a way, kind of missed out at the beginning because there wasn't an ecosystem around the whole experience. If you wanted your music, the younger generation, I'll call it the Napster generation, got used to having all the music ever made. And since there was no ecosystem around that, that's all you could have, right? Because even the labels, the artists, the whole system wasn't supporting you. You were kind of outside of the whole system, and I think the system is finally starting to embrace them again. And Facebook's a good example. As you get a foundation of users being able, and I know you agree with this, a foundation of being able to play anything ever made, there's a whole lot of interesting stuff you can do on that. You were a young DJ, so Turntable FM is a perfect example. You get on and start DJing a room, and suddenly people are showing up and enjoying it, and that's what you're all about. So I think the form of the experience changes, but the experience very much comes back. It just was missing for a little while music kind of went out of the mainstream in a way.
So following on from that, maybe one of the outcomes of this is we look at the sort of the period we're in now, and maybe there's a good 3, 4, 5 years more of it to play out.
Yeah.
This evolution from the physical age where music was all about something you bought in the shops or you heard on the radio or you went to go and see in a concert, is moving slowly to something which is the foundation stone for a set of experiences.
Yeah. And
one of the key reasons that music revenues are still falling more quickly than digital can pick up the slack is because we have still so many, in fact I would say just about every single digital music service out there is trying to recreate the analog business model in a digital context, and not your sort of, where you were laying out the idea of using music, all the music there is, as the foundation stone and then build something new on top.
I don't think I disagree with you, but I'd say the music industry kind of got blindsided by the tech industry, right? That's suddenly out of thin air. You could go on a site, you could go on the original Napster and download 100,000 tracks, right? And they didn't even know that it was there for a little while. And then once they knew it was there and started chasing after it, the experience, the intoxicating experience took over, right? You can't take that back once a person is used to it.
So what about, so maybe 2 final frontiers for digital music, getting digital music into the home and getting digital music into the car.
Well, that's near and dear. The home is near and dear to my heart. I think getting all the music ever made on your white earbuds and in your ears is wonderful, but I think bringing it back into the home and having listening out loud, because music is a social thing. You want to share it with other people. You find a new track or you find an old track that you really like to share with somebody, and you want to do that openly. And that's Sonos is all about filling your home with music, and so building on these new services is really important for us, and I think a great opportunity for our customers. Like our initiative is to be able to play all the music ever made, which is a tall task. It's finding all the albums of all the bands, anywhere, whether they be in Brazil or Japan or the UK, and bringing that into your living room. And once we've achieved that vision, I think music will be a really magical experience in your living room.